Hey, it's a Humble Collector here. In today's video, we have another unboxing. We have quite a few very interesting death cards, as well as a very, very exciting grouping of papers. It's going to keep me busy for years, if I'm being honest, but hopefully not quite that long. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Unfortunately, most of the envelopes had seller's name on the front and back, so I had to open them up ahead of time. But we'll go ahead and go through these cards first. So the first card here, it's a nice 4-panel for Johann Reisinger, who's an open fighter in the Infantry Regiment, veteran of the campaigns in France and Russia, bearer of the Iron Cross Second Class, the Infantry Assault Badge, and the Wound Badge, who fell on May 21st, 1943, at the age of 25. Then moving on here, the next card is for Otto Baumgartner, who's a fighter in Infantry Regiment, veteran of the Anschluss, as well as the campaign in Poland, who fell on June 4th, 1940, near Lebrun, France, at the age of 26 and a half. And we have this absolutely awesome photo of Otto here. Looks like it's taken probably right outside of his house. He's in full kit. He's got his Mauser. He's got his binoculars, his helmet. Really awesome. You don't see a ton of outdoor photos on these World War II death cards, let alone ones with all this equipment. So very, very neat. Awesome photo. Definitely glad to have that in the collection. I still have yet to find a death card photo where the soldier is holding anything other than a Mauser, though. I have quite a few with Mausers. I have yet to find a submachine gun or a G43 or an MG for whatever reason. Now, the next card here is for Franz Xavier Fondel, who is a Matrosen fighter in the Kriegsmarine, who died at the age of 22 and a half after being heavily wounded on November 30th, 1942. Now, if I remember correctly from the auction listing, I believe that Franz here actually died in Japan, which I've seen one other death card from a German sailor killed in Japan. So I'll have to do the research on that, but that's a pretty neat one. This is a very significant card, this next one. I can't believe nobody else bid on this for some reason. If I can get this open here. There we go. So here we can see it's in French, and this is for the martyrs of the massacre at Oradour. My French is awful, I apologize. On June 10th, 1944. We actually have a listing here of some of those who were killed. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, this is a massacre that took place during the Normandy campaign. It was committed by members of SS Das Reich, if I remember correctly. But essentially, very typical of the kind of actions that you'd see on the Eastern Front, where they basically rounded up everybody in the village, shot a bunch of them, put the women and children in a church, lit it on fire. These kind of actions were carried out in hundreds of villages in the East, but committing crimes like that in the West is relatively rare. This was a major massacre, a huge outrage. Several of the SS men involved that survived the war would end up being tried for their actions during that event. The village itself was actually never rebuilt, and I believe remains as a memorial to that event to this day. So definitely a really a card for a very dark moment in the history of World War II. And one that you definitely don't see very often. So very much looking forward to eventually being able to put together a video on that. And moving on to the last card here, you might have seen it in the background. This is the card for Prince Gabriel Albert of Thurn und Taxi. So this is an actual German prince, member of the nobility here. And as we can see, he was killed on December 17th, 1942 at Stalingrad. So I did a little bit of research about him because I'd never seen a card for a prince come up before, so I wanted to do a little bit of digging. And my understanding is he was actually drafted. He did not volunteer, served, as you can see, as a Gefreiter, so just super low-ranking soldier. And yeah, he'd be killed in the brutal fighting at Stalingrad. So his body still is buried out there, I believe, at one of the big cemeteries near Stalingrad, but his family actually has a very nice tomb for him that was, or I guess memorial more than tomb since his body's not there. At one of their family crypts, which I'll try to link a photo of it because I found it online somewhere. But yeah, definitely a very neat card. I saw one that came up recently for a knight as well, a Ritter, but I have not, that has not gone up yet per my understanding, so I'm not 100% sure if I've won that or not. So we'll go ahead and move on to the first envelope we're going to be opening here. And this is the only envelope, actually, because the last package is that big one that I alluded to. So going through these, and this is from one of the sellers that actually does a bit of research on their cards. So first one here is for Hans Leberdinger, who is an Obergefreiter in a Grenadier Regiment, bearer of the War Merit Cross Second Class with Swords, Eastern Front Medal, who fell after 4.5 years of military service on May 8th, 1944, at the age of 34, in the heavy fighting in the East. As we can see, it's a very early photo of Hans here. So if he's killed 44, had 4.5 years of service, probably 1940-ish is when he joined up, but we can see he still has his National Shield emblem on the side of his helmet there. And it also appears to be a outside photo. There's some stuff in the background as well. So very, very neat. Unfortunately, no research on his unit there from the seller. So this card here for Peter Lohkampf, who is an Unteroffizier and bearer of the Iron Cross Second Class and the Eastern Front Medal. And really interesting, we see he has his marksmanship lanyard there, which is kind of an unusual one to see in the photos. Also a bit unusual that the backing plate here seems to almost be backwards. It looks like we have a bit of like a, oh, that's interesting. So this, so the way this should have been folded, I guess whoever did this didn't do it correctly when they first printed it. This would have been, should have been panel 1, and then the inside here should have probably been all of the story about him, because this is kind of like what you expect for like a backing panel, but I digress, we're getting technical there. But yeah, it looks like we have a really nice, long, kind of like biography talking about him, which is always nice to see. Unfortunately, most cards do not do that. And the last card here is for Josef Meyer, who was killed on September 2nd, 1941 in true fulfillment of his duties due to an air attack in the Soviet Union at the age of 23. We can see a very nice portrait photo of him there with his sword. He's holding his gloves, so very, very cool. And he was a Gefreiter in the cavalry. Yeah, super neat. I always love seeing photos like this with the swords, and I was talking a little bit about that earlier with the rifle as well. And per the listing from the seller here, it looks like he was a member of the reconnaissance unit of the 134th Infantry Division. Okay, so now that we've done that, it's time to get into this big box here. So, I've been waiting for this package for literally weeks. Apparently, when I had my mail stopped last month, I guess when I went and picked it up, they had this separate or something, and they only just delivered it today. So I'm very, very happy to have this. This is a grouping of documents that I bought from a collector over in Germany, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get this open here. Because I don't want to... Yeah, let's do that. I was supposed to say, I don't want to cut in there and damage any of the papers. Okay. So I had to cut that out. I had a very nice note from the seller there who I've gotten to know quite a bit over the past few months, actually. So it looks like, yeah, we have like a... Yeah, it looks like they just taped over this like document binder, I guess. Which makes sense, because it's a lot of documents they had to ship here. So let's see. All right. Yeah, because they just tape right over that. So let's see here. If I do that, and if I do that, I should just be able to lift everything out here. Alrighty. So we have a lot to go through. So including here is a couple old issues of Alte Kameraden, which is a German veterans magazine. These two issues seem to be from January 1971 and July 1975. Very cool. I couldn't find much on this magazine online. My understanding is it's a lot of veteran-written accounts about their war experiences and like looking for people and things. And it looks like, yeah, all kinds of stuff in here. Very cool. Like I said, I've never seen scans of these anywhere, and it looks like there might be some really neat historical information beyond the stuff related to this grouping. Super, super neat. And then this one here. And yeah, we have, so the 335th Infantry Division here. The story that I have with this is that the collector that I bought this from was friends with this veteran from the 335th Infantry Division. And this guy spent a lot of time post-war writing articles about the unit's wartime service, corresponding with fellow veterans. And so a lot of these here are copies of his articles, some of his correspondence as well. And per my understanding, the 335th does not actually have a unit history that I've been able to find. So that's super cool. Let's see, Grenadier Regiment 508. And we have, maps and things. As you can see, here's like his actual, worked out draft there for one of his articles. Super cool stuff. Yeah, there's hundreds of pages here. I think it's like 2 kilograms worth of paper. We have, actual hand-marked and hand-drawn maps and things. Looks like a fight against the Panzer T-34 by the 683rd Grenadier Regiment, which was part of the 335th. I believe that was the unit he was attached to as like a pioneer on their staff. Yeah, in Brückenkopf von Nikopol. Yeah, the fight of the 683rd Grenadier Regiment and the 335th Infantry Division from September 1943, written on, February 10th, 1974 by Willy Hasterach, who was a Seinerzeit and Infantry Pioneer Zug Staff Company, Grenadier Regiment 683. Super cool. And like I said, none of this, some of the articles published in these magazines, but as far as I can tell, not a lot of this is actually online. Oh, wow, we have these sweet missing sheets here. I have a few of these from over the years. I think these are also related to the 319th, or these are also related to the 335th, per my understanding. Very cool. Yeah, Grenadier Regiment 683 at the top there. We have some death cards in here as well. Oh, it's more than I'd actually bought. I know he said he threw in some spares. Threw in some extras for me. We have a few here. We have a cutout for a Baker who's a Gefreiter in Infantry Regiment. Cutout of a period magazine. Have a nice little postcard there for a Baker Dorner. Obergefreiter, death card for Obergefreiter Konrad Stoiber. Bearer of the Iron Cross, 1st, 2nd class, Eastern Front Medal, the wound badges is silver. Baker from Rummensdorf-Felden. So that was another thing with this collector. He's main area, focus of collection, can't talk, I'm so excited. His main focus area of collecting was bakery-related items. Field bakeries, field kitchens, that kind of stuff. So he said he had something like 1,000 death cards for either people that were bakers in the military or bakers prior to World War II, which is crazy. That's awesome. Yeah, super cool stuff there. Yeah, it's really nice. You can actually see his EK2 and his silver wound badge there. We have another cutout for a Knight's Cross winner there, Major Robert Kessner. Looks like somebody cut out and put an album at some point. Jaeger Peter Regel, who in the fighting in the East died on January 30th, 1944 by Susi, northwest of Umensee, at the age of 20. We have Josef Schatzberger, Gefreiter, and Master Baker's son from Harbach, who fell on May 7th, 1943. Very interesting uniform here. I believe that's NSKK, which is like a civilian driving organization in the Nazi Party, if I remember correctly. So not one that you see very often. We also have Franz Dasch here, who is a Master Baker from Dorfen and a Feldwebel in Infantry Regiment List. So the List Regiment's one that I actually collect a bit from. So history of the List Regiment is they bore the honorific of the unit that Hitler served in World War I. And so they were authorized to wear a cuff title. There's not a lot written about them in World War II that I've been able to find, so I've been slowly tracking down cards for them because I think that's interesting. And then we last 2 death cards here. Have another infantry regiment list, it looks like. Yep, right there, List Regiment. For Fritz Philipp, who is a Konditormeister. I don't know what that is, actually. An Unteroffizier in the List Regiment bear the War Merit Cross, first, second class, the Eastern Front Medal, and various other awards, who died in the East at Zircanovo after 5 years' service at the age of 30 on November 21st, 1944. And this one, so he was in Sanitator Company 195. Guess I'll leave that note on there for now. No reason to take it fully off. Philip Reisacher, Baker, and Conditor in fell April 8th, 1941. Pretty glossy card there. But it does appear to be period printing, so nothing to worry about there. So yeah, very nice set of cards. I'll have to thank him profusely. I know we've both been waiting for this to come in for a while. I was kind of worried that it had gotten lost somewhere. I had another package that actually got returned to Germany recently because apparently my address doesn't exist, which I find quite surprising given the fact that I have bought so many packages over the past few years, and I've never had one returned for that before. Very strange. Okay, we have more letterhead there, related to him, submitting those articles and things. Yep, and here we actually have a picture of the veteran who wrote these. Now, interestingly enough, the collector that I bought this from actually lived with him for a while, and when he had passed away, his girlfriend gave him all these papers. That was kind of the story that I got. This was a cool booklet. Der Lanza. Is there anything on here on the 335th? I'm curious now. Yeah, there we go, 335th. So a very brief synopsis of some of their activities. It's a nice booklet. When was this published, actually? Copyright 1990. Okay, so it's relatively newer. It looks like other various resources for research here. But I really wish I could read German, because I recognize some of the words and things, but it's like just from like a quick glance, I don't really know what certain things are. What does this piece of paper say? Sevastopol? Looks like. Huh. It's like a German, March 15th, 1939. It's pre-war. It's kind of neat. And we have some more photos in here, it looks like. Yeah, copied photos. You see these a lot in older collections from back in the day. People physically print out copied photos just for reference. There's some nice ones in here, actually. Oh, it's a Schwimmwagen. You don't see that very often. Lots of the Schwimmwagen. That's super cool. Oh, very nice. Yeah, I'll have to thank him and let him know that all came in. But yeah, so that very, very cool stuff there. Yeah, pretty good haul. Some great death cards. Great lot of paper here. I'm very excited on 3/19th. I do have some other research I need to do ahead of time, but I'll slowly start pecking away. That's going to take me forever to physically translate all of it. But yeah, overall, super great. A lot of stuff. Very happy to have it. And yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment down below. Love hearing from you. Thank you all for watching. Happy collecting, and I'll see you all again very soon.